This is an intro video to a new playlist on the 1,335 days, also called the Resurrection and the Seventh Trumpet. So we've compiled all the messages over the years into one playlist, so you can go through this one playlist because I get more questions in this than anything else. When is the rapture? Well, we're going to use the scriptural terms, like when the woman is given 2 wings of a great eagle. That's 1,335 days. Rejoice, you that dwell in heaven, okay? We find this leads us 1,335 days to Pentecost. These are other videos, guys. We have lots more on this, but Pentecost in the year 2021 is what the 1,335 days is leading us to. So, what is this? It is the fig tree. The fig tree is 1,335 days from the sign of the woman clothed with the sun in September 2017. Okay, it's from then. That brings you to the Feast of Pentecost in the year 2021. Now, if you go to this video, you will see that we posted this 5.5 years ago. 5.5 years ago, you can see behind me that on the board, we identified these major markers, 1,335 days, the 1,260 days, and the abomination that makes desolate. So we've been teaching on this a long time, okay? But it happens a few times. It is a cycle, okay? So from the blood moon that happened in 2014, okay, so from that blood moon, we get a significant date. We go from the blood moon in Passover 2014, 1,335 days brings us to Hanukkah 2017. Okay, this is Revelation 11:1, measure the temple and the altar and those that worship there. And that starts the 2 witnesses. The 2 witnesses prophesy 1,260 days. Okay, that begins in Hanukkah. Okay, so in Hanukkah, they start 1,260 days. That brings us to Pentecost. Okay, so the 2 witnesses, their testimony leads us to the same time as the 1,335 days in the Feast of Pentecost. Okay, so we're summarizing what we have taught in lots of videos. This is the 7th trumpet. The 7th trumpet is the Jubilee trumpet. Okay, so hopefully you will follow the playlist and get the notes and learn about the resurrection. Learn about the 1,335 days. Okay, very significant is the resurrection. Okay, so you have the faithful wise servants, the council of 120, the 1,200. They are part of this. The 144,000. And I saw the Lamb on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, with the name of him and the Father's name on their foreheads. That's who's in the resurrection. Okay? So concerning the resurrection, some say it's already passed. Nevertheless, the foundation stands sure, having the seal. So at the resurrection, the people are sealed, having the name of God written on their forehead. And they come into the great house. Okay? Now in Micah, chapter 4, you can see them. They're called the afflicted, the halted. They are the remnant that will reign with the Lord on Mount Zion. Okay? So they're the poor, the maimed, the blind, the heart, the daughter of Zion. That's who you see in Revelation 14. Okay? Now we see the 144,000 are the first guests to the wedding supper. To the wedding supper in Luke 14. When you have a dinner or a supper or a feast, and you make a feast, call the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind. Remember how we saw that? The poor, maimed, blind, and halt in Micah chapter 4. And it says, and you will be blessed when they can't recompense you, because you will be recompensed at the resurrection of the just. Thus, we have a connection between the poor, maimed, blind, the halt, the 144,000, with the resurrection. Like we saw before, the resurrection of the sealed ones. Now, we also see they are first at the wedding in verse 21. And the servant came and showed the Lord these things and said, Master of the house, being angry, said his servant, go quickly into the streets and the lanes of the city, bring in the poor, the maimed, the halt, and the blind. That's 144,000. So they are first at the wedding supper. Then the servant says, Lord, it is done as you commanded, but there is room. Okay? So we have those that came. That's Revelation 14:1, the 144,000. Then that servant, Lord, it is done as you commanded, but there's room. So there's still room. And the Lord said to the servant, go into the highways and hedges and compel them to come, that the house may be filled. So more guests have to come. So there's 2 times guests come to the wedding supper. Now the second guests that come to the wedding supper we find in Matthew 22 and verse 9. Go therefore into the highways and compel as many you find and bid them to the marriage. So those servants went into the highways and gathered together as many as they found, both bad and good. Now bad are not going to heaven in the wedding supper. This relates to the great harvest. There's a harvest of the good and the evil. And the wedding was furnished with guests, okay? So this is the great harvest. This is the second time guests come to the wedding. Okay, so with the poor, maimed, blind, the halt, that's 144,000. And you have a great multitude that comes out of great tribulation. You'll notice that earlier in the playlist that we were identifying the 6th seal, and we can see the proofs here. You can see 12 proofs of the Son of Man comes in the 6th seal. Okay, but again, no man knows that particular day or hour. We can anticipate when the 6th seal is, but you can see 12 perfect alignments of prophecy between Matthew 24 and Revelation chapter 6 and 7. Okay, so in blue, you can see Revelation 6 and 7, and you see all the signs and indicators of the coming of the Son of Man, the clouds, okay, the eagles and everything else. We have another whole video on this, but what we were stating now is that there is the 7th trumpet and the great harvest. So you got the 7th trumpet, which we anticipate, is an indication of the season of the resurrection. And then there is the great harvest. Now, of course, the verse that says, blessed is he that waits and comes to 1,335 days is in Daniel chapter 12. And if we look closely at Daniel chapter 12, in the context of the resurrection, we can see many similarities. So that's where we're saying the 1,335 days, you have the wise virgins, okay, you have the 1,335 days, the 7th trumpet, okay. These are other videos that get more into this detail. But again, what we're saying is that we have Daniel chapter 12 giving us indications that even Daniel, he will be resurrected, okay, your people delivered, and you will rest, here it is, he shall rest and stand in your lot. He will receive his seal or inheritance in the end of days. So the playlist will be a link in the description field of the video. And what I'll also do is add a note that will compile all the documents and notes that we have written up over the years to explain the 1,335 days. So you'll have that on just one PDF document. So guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, go to the playlist. You'll see the videos. Remember that now what we're saying is we got the 7th trumpet and great harvest coming, where before we were talking about the 6th seal and the 7th trumpet. So thanks for watching, and God bless you.